I'm on my way to a memorial service for my closest friend, confidant, and ally of the last 7 years. This death was unexpected. This is a healthy person who a few days ago went out for a swim in the Atlantic Ocean, got caught in a rip current. It overtook him, and after being exhausted, he drowned. When the lifeguards pulled him out, they tried to work on him, but it was too late. When something like this happens to someone we know or someone close to us, it's always a reminder of our own mortality. And he and I used to talk a lot about death, and neither one of us believe in an afterlife. He considered himself agnostic, open to the possibility of a God, whereas I consider myself atheist and do not believe in God. He never had religion, whereas I had it crammed down my throat. He's one of the few people I would trust with a key to my home. He was also a very dependable, reliable, and trustworthy person. His values were as good as they can get. He had a lot of virtues that are admirable. You do not need religion to be a decent, ethical person. That is something already innate within all of us. Being I don't believe in an afterlife, and time is not a renewable resource, time I consider to be one of the most valuable things I have. Once it's spent, I can't make more of it. It's not like money. And I don't want to squander time away on fake people. I really value authenticity and people who are genuine. And this is something my friend was. He wasn't pretentious. He didn't try to be something he wasn't. He was a confident person, but yet he was humble. He wasn't arrogant. He was a phenomenal artist, but he would never admit that, and he did not show his work to people, but I did have the privilege of seeing some. And he did some techniques with ink renderings I've never seen done, creating textures that I can't even describe, and it's a shame. We'll never really get to enjoy that art. I really encouraged him to post his art online so people could appreciate it, but he really didn't see the value in it. I hope it doesn't end up lost or disregarded or in the recycling bin. Hopefully one of his family members or someone will secure those and take good care of them. I got word his brother's coming down from Canada. All of his family's up there. This is a very dear and close platonic friend. As all of my friends are platonic, I don't believe in friends with benefits. I never have. I don't get that whole thing. And maintaining platonic relationships with my male friends is also how I've managed to keep them. So this is all unexpected, and there will be no more weekend coffee get-togethers or morning chats on the phone about what's on the agenda for that day. We also had worked on some construction projects together and worked really well together. He was very conventional, whereas I'm very experimental. But we both do good work, but he did like to stick with traditional, tried and true ways and would be a little weary about straying outside of that when I would have this idea that wasn't orthodox. Okay, well, I'm glad I got to know him, and I was proud he was my friend, and I know he's someone I could depend on and rely on. And people like that aren't a dime a dozen. There are a lot of people who think they have a lot of friends, but they have acquaintances at best. Fair-weathered acquaintances at that. Your true blue friends, those are more of a rare breed. The people I consider my closest confidants I could count on one hand with fingers to spare. And he was one of those people. But sure, I have many, many acquaintances, you know, people that would say they're my friends, but ultimately they're not. But he was. I never knew him to date anyone the 7 years we were friends, but he did meet someone in the last couple of months, and he was spending a lot of time with her, and I was really happy about that. I could see he was excited about it. It was good for him, so we weren't doing so many coffees or anything anymore. Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet her, but hopefully tonight I will, and I would like to let her know that she was something important to him. I don't know how expressive he was to her about that, because he was rather reserved and, you know, didn't like to talk about feelings and things like that. But he was really thrilled about her. And she was there actually when the riptide took him out. She was able to make it out, but when she turned back, she did not see him. He was gone. So she told the lifeguards, and then they went out looking for him. And that's really all I know. I found out about this the old-fashioned way, by a letter in the mail, by a mutual friend, whom I haven't heard from in years. And it was odd to get a letter from him, so I felt like something had happened. And something did happen. My friend and I used to talk about, well, see, he and I are loners, and our family are out of state. And there's some estrangement there as well. And we talked about, like, you know, if we were to die, how long it would take for the relevant people in our lives to catch wind of it. And some of our friends, if they would ever find out at all, you know. So this past year, I've lost 3 friends. None of them were from natural causes. And within the last couple of years, my mom and a cousin. And what happened to Mom's the heartbreak of my life. Still a sore subject for me, but thanks, Big Pharma. Thanks. That's another video. Life is precious. You don't get any guarantees. None of us are promised tomorrow. And one thing about my friend, he practiced Eastern philosophy and Buddhism, although he didn't want to consider himself a Buddhist because he didn't agree with everything in the same way I don't either, but we embrace a lot of the beliefs and the philosophy. And he had a very Zen-like grounding quality that was calming, and it had a calming effect on people, and you could really talk to him, and, you know, I could confide in him and tell him everything. He knew everything. I had no secrets. He doesn't make you feel judged, you know. He's a very good-hearted person and a great example of how people should strive to be, even for a non-believer. Okay, well, I will wind this down, and I'm going to the service now. It's at a Buddhist temple in my area, and one he used to go to weekly. He really enjoyed the lessons and the practices, and we like to talk about it a lot. Okay, well, value your life and your loved ones. You don't get any guarantees, and nobody knows what tomorrow holds. And one of the biggest things the practice of yoga and present-minded awareness has given me is the gift of now. Instead of being caught up in the thoughts and entanglements of yesteryear and the worries and woes of tomorrow, trying to predict the future and meanwhile missing right now. So my friend and we did talk a lot about that, the relevance of present-minded awareness and how it can enrich your life to be focused and in the now. And you must be present to win. Because if your mind is wandering and you're somewhere else in your head, you're not really connecting with people and you're not really present and you're not going to win anyone over. And your life's going to pass you by while you're all caught up in the thoughts from the past or predictions of the future. So please look into present-minded awareness practices. It will enhance and enrich your life in ways that are beyond anything you can imagine.